Good greetings, YouTube. Danny Staten here on the Daily Dan blog, and I'm back with another comic book review. That's right. Today I'm taking on the Mighty Isis, and that's the Mighty Isis from the TV show of the '70s, not some people running around in the desert. So let's get that perfectly clear and out of the way. In this exciting edition of Comic Book Review, I'm checking out the Mighty Isis number 8. And it's a tragic comic book because actually number 8 was the last Isis comic book ever printed in the '70s. Kind of makes me cry that they only made 8 of these. And if you go to the Fat Comic Book Guy this week, I'll put up a little quick story comic book video explaining why they only made 8 of these, and you may be surprised. In this comic book edition, Isis meets the X-Men. Swear, this is going to be awesome. Does anybody remember the Mighty Isis?
"Oh, my queen," said the royal sorcerer to Hatshepsut, "with this amulet, you and your descendants are endowed by the goddess Isis with the powers of the animals and the elements. You will soar as the falcon soars, run with the speed of gazelles, and command the elements of sky and earth." 3,000 years later, a young science teacher dug up this lost treasure and found she was heir to the secrets of Isis. And so, unknown to even her closest friends, Rick Mason and Reddy Carroll, she became a dual person. Andrea Thomas, teacher. Almighty Isis. And Isis, dedicated foe of evil, defender of the weak, champion of truth and justice.
Yay! You know, I got a sneaking suspicion. My friend Dave Sunstorm thinks this is the good stuff. That's right. That was a little intro from Isis. And while I was thinking, my friend Dave Sunstorm, you know, the good stuff guy here on YouTube, the guy with the incredible brother named Steven Sunstorm. Yeah, the good stuff guy, Dave Sunstorm, has done videos about this show, this incredible TV show from the '70s. And before I get started going through Isis meets the X-Men, I gotta throw some of this on there.
Culture historian Dave Sundstrom here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking a trip down memory lane to explore the career of actress Joanna Peng. Yep, good old Cindy Lee from the classic Saturday morning TV show The Secrets of Isis. In addition to that, I'll also talk about what she has been up to more recently, which I think is pretty darn cool. So without any further delay, let's get rolling. For those of you who may not remember, The Secrets of Isis was a companion superhero program to Shazam. It featured another Joanna Cameron, as Andrea Thomas, a high school science teacher who discovers an ancient amulet that grants her superpowers. And Andrea wasn't alone on her adventures. She was often accompanied by fellow teacher Rick Mason, along with student Cindy Lee, the character portrayed by Joanna. You know, I think it's fair to say that Cindy Lee was a fan favorite, and to my recollection, she appeared in every episode during the first season. However, when the second season premiered, much to the dismay of many Cindy Lee fans, Joanna was no longer listed in the opening credits. Interestingly, no official announcement was ever made, and the disappearance of Cindy Lee is something that Joanna to this day still doesn't really have a good answer for. And trust me, this is a question that she has been asked quite a bit. By all accounts, Joanna thought that she would continue to play Cindy Lee during the show's second season. The producers had given every indication that she would be coming back. However, when the cast and production team regrouped for that show's much shorter second season, just 7 episodes I believe, it was clear that a decision had been made to bring someone else on board in Joanna's place. If you are to believe IMDb, prior to joining The Secrets of Isis, Joanna had only been involved in a couple of different projects, a TV series called The Patchwork Family, pictured here, and an uncredited role in the movie Once a Thief. That said, Joanna had actually been finding steady work as a model, dancer, and actress for years. Here's a fun little image that I found on Joanna's Facebook page. Yep, somewhere along the way, she even got a chance to work with Mrs. Brady herself, the legendary Florence Henderson. During the early 80s, things changed just a little bit for Joanna when she met the love of her life, film producer Dick Adkins. They married in 1982. Among the films that Dick is well known for producing is a favorite of mine, Murder in Coweta County. In that film, which is based on a true story, Andy Griffith played against type and gave an amazing performance. TV Guide called him truly villainous. Oh, and Johnny Cash? Well, he was pretty great as well as the lawman trying to bring him to justice. After getting married, Dick and Joanna had a son, and due to her desire to be there for her son during his formative years, things changed even more. And what began as something that Joanna simply wanted to do to help her son's kindergarten class explore different cultures through the world of traditional dance, well, it blossomed into a 30-year journey with Joanna positively impacting the lives of thousands of children over the past 3 decades. From my vantage point, it seems like Joanna lost herself in the truly worthy endeavor of helping others, and I venture that it's probably fair to say that most of these kids have never even heard of the secrets of Isis or Joanna's character Cindy Lee. Instead, they know her as the kind person who gave of herself and shared her passion for dance with them. And because of that, changed the way that they think about themselves and maybe even just a little bit the way they look at the world around them. Of course, to me, she'll always be pigtailed Cindy. You know, even though she wasn't in that second season, episodes from season 1 played for years on CBS during their Saturday morning children's entertainment block, and I think it's fair to say that both of these Joannas kept us plenty entertained. Now here's a team up that I really would have loved to have seen, but alas, it never happened.
I hope that's the
Still, thanks to the
thumbnail.
magic of Photoshop, we can all dream.
Well, thanks, Dave, for making a special appearance in my Good Stuff video today. By the way, his videos are a lot better than anything I do. I'm sure of that. All right, let's get started on this comic book, or I'll be here all day. I've been rolled on so long that this video is already going to be excessive. So if you want to click out after the good stuff was over there, I understand. This is my look at Isis, number 8 from 1977. Isis meets the X-Men. Oh my God, inside the front cover, you get the penguin. The penguin, and he's hawking out some Hostess cupcake Twinkies, because it must be part of his evil plan to give everybody diabetes in 1977. Oh, jeez. Apparently, in part 7, Rick Mason was taken over by some alien life form, some parasite from another dimension, maybe. I don't know. But Isis is unaware of that, so be aware that Rick's body's inhabited by some other mutant thing, darkly through the mutant's eyes. I guess it's a mutant that can take over people's bodies. Alien dark mutant thing. I do not know. It never explains it, and this is issue 8. I think I actually reviewed issue 7 a couple of years ago. I should have looked back, right? So info panels brought to you by the Daily Dan blog. Isis is delivering Rick Mason back to his reality. But check this out. Rick's mom is putting the pressure on Isis about Andrea. So Isis has to take off and go find Andrea real quick, which she has to go change into because she's really Isis. Don't you love all this intrigue in the beginning of this Isis comic book where you start totally confused unless you had issue 7. Oh, look, Andrea showed up. Mom's all happy. So, dude's all home. His mom's all happy. Does that remind you of somebody whose mom just runs their life? I could think of a couple of people. Well, here goes. The good stuff turns dark because we got an evil prince. I'm going to call him Prince Alarming. He's from someplace. What was the name of that? I know they said it over here. He's from, how you pronounce that word? Cornholio? He's from Cornholio? Cornovia? He's from Cornovia? All right, he's the Prince of Cornovia. I bet it's an island. Okay, I'm not going to do all that. Indoor BB gun fun. It's for the whole family because that was the time when you shot your BB gun in the house. Oh my God, what a great commercial. Let's shoot out the windows and shoot up the walls. My parents never let me shoot my BB gun in the house. Come on. And I love it. It's a werewolf telling you to snap into your Slim Jim boy. And by the way, Slim Jim is a proud sponsor of the Daily Dan blog. Or you could have learned to draft. I love the commercials in these old comic books. So it kind of looks like King Joker and Queen Harley Quinn are dumping off their little mutant boy. Check it out. They're dropping him off at a special school for gifted children like him. So, in full panels brought to you by the Daily Dan blog, we learned the secret of ISIS. No, we learned the secret of these kids. We learned the secret of why this comic book only had 8 episodes. Because meet the other gifted kids at the school. You know, the ones who are mutants with special abilities. Good gravy. One guy can use the stare of death and make you pass out. One girl can turn to mist. This dude's made of rubber over here in the corner. Oh my gee whiz. Anyway, he tries to intimidate Prince Alarmin with his magic powers, his mental hypnosis glare, but it don't work, and he's knocked on his UCLA, California butt, boy, because Prince Alarmin has the true powers. But then one ISIS hears the fight happening down on the campus because she likes to hang out around these mutant mothers, you know what I'm saying? ISIS swoops down, and with her ISIS powers, she breaks up the little scuffle on the schoolyard because that's what superheroes do. They break up scuffles on the schoolyard. Did I mention she's a teacher at the school in her secret identity? But at the school she's a teacher at wasn't the school where the mutants are. That one's around the corner, I guess. Yeah, we got to get back to that plot point where a mutant has took over the soul of Rick Mason, so he's running around in Rick Mason's body trying to discover the secret of ISIS. He's trying to find out who the ISIS is. He hadn't figured it out yet because he's a ding-dong boy. And check this out. They're giving the prince his first lesson. How to Withstand Torture 101. That's my favorite always, right? And then you could have had these really cool candy bars, and I know I ate too many of them. That's why I have to take pills now. Oh my God. Well, I had to stop and give that one a double look. I read the comic book earlier, I really did, but I didn't look at none of the ads. I wanted to be surprised, kind of. And check this out. You could have had super capes. Darn it, why didn't I see super capes? I never got super capes, Dave. But sadly, I think I ordered every bit of the stuff you see here. Yep, I love these little ads in comic books. I constantly order stuff. I didn't need that one because I already look like the Hulk boy. Oh, the excitement. Prince Alarmin's dealing with his X-Men chums. It's regular old school time fun while ISIS goes to a football game. Andrea's upset that they're playing the mutant team from down the street, and the mutant team's using their powers to make her team look like a bunch of wusses. A bunch of wusses? I don't think ISIS is going to be having that. As is Sea Monkey Mania. Remember when you could have had them sea monkeys? I had them little brine shrimp sea monkeys. They look like grits floating in a pile of poop water. Well, that's one thing you can count on with these comic books. They're the commercials to keep on giving. Yeah, you can tell this is a 77 to 78 season comic book just by looking through it. All the cool stuff you could order, but what gave it away was you get to see some really cool Christmas stuff. That's right, it's the Rudolph comic book. Christmas is sitting here in March, getting warm. I don't want to think about nothing cold now. How many pages of comic books did I just go through anyway? Here's another ad for the exciting 15th issue of World's DC Comics. Amazing features. You gotta have Wonder Woman. Look at that. Linda Carter featured as Wonder Woman. Or you could have bought this piece of garbage, whatever that is. But anyway, they dropped them like they were I can't say that. They dropped them pretty fast in the football game because they're mutants. Dr. X is all happy. He's calling over to inform everybody else. Really, you got a Dr. X that's bald-headed? At least this guy can walk. Everybody at the X-Men school was all happy about their victory. And just like that, Prince Alarming goes out for a snack, and he's snatched by some thugs, and poof, now we got a kidnapping going on. Wow, man, that's just a kidnapping right out of nowhere. Everybody's informed that Prince Alarming's been kidnapped, I guess. Hey, I kind of missed him getting kidnapped when I flipped through this book the first time. But we could have had some really cool TV posters. That's right. Probably the coolest TV posters that ever existed. My God, I had that one on my wall. I wished I'd have had that one on my wall, and I wouldn't have had the Rocky one if you gave it to me for free, but I might have bought some Starsky and Hutch there, buddy. And in this amazing comic book, you could have put your application in. That's right. You could have become a member of the Justice Society. To send a self-addressed stamped envelope to this address, and you can join the club of DC Superstars. You can be a hero, boy! Well, I don't think this kidnapping's going to get long. Soon as Andrea gets the message, she turns into the little flippy thing, does her thing, and now she's the Mighty Isis. And in 2 seconds, she's tracked down the car by in full panels, brought to you by the Daddy Damn Blog. Don't F with Isis. She's got the power. She comes flocking down there, and in a second, she's met the gays. She met the gays of the mutants. She met the gays of the mutants as little Prince Alarming has flashbacks to his life as a child, always getting snatched up by his grim parents. That's right. Little Prince Alarming is using his mental powers on the kidnapper, saying, "You will release me," as Isis lands on the ground to confront them. They pull out guns and start shooting. Well, she got the bracelets like Wonder Woman now. She's just making the bullets miss her, boy. Well, in this alarming twist, Isis and Prince Alarming, him using his mental powers and her just with brute strength, put the kibosh on the kidnappers and discover that out of the shed walks King Joker and Queen Harley. And King Joker and Queen Harley were behind the kidnapping. They're trying to get rid of their evil heir son with his powers. They whip out their guns, but he uses his mental zap on them. Why you try to shoot the mutant kid? And then we get commercials, and more commercials. Hey, this would be a good time for me to give a couple of shout-outs, right? So be sure to check out my friend Dave Sunstorm. Dave Sunstorm, you saw his video at the beginning of this video. Dave Sunstorm, the good stuff guy. Here on YouTube, it is incredible brother Steven Sunstorm. Be sure to check out my friend E. Miguel, the unapologetic geek. You know, the guy who sent me that cool DVD and wrote that darn book called Paradox. You got to check that out. And you can see me on The Unapologetic Geek every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. Be sure to check out our girl at Beta Brian Bender's banner. You can see me there on Saturday nights on the panel. My incredible partner in crime, Thrash Pondo Pines. He'll be doing a show with me on his channel every other week, our show called Thrash and Dan Save the World. Be sure to join us for that. Check out Pat McCormick at the Golden Ranger TV. You can also find him here on YouTube, as well as my main man, Bigfoot, Mexican Rob, the guy with the true Cryptid Encounters. Book 1 and Book 2's out, and Book 3 will be coming out soon. And be sure to check out Big Guy's 40 Thighs, BK on the air. My flock is everywhere, Sarah. You know, we love that girl. She's our producer, and you'll see her on our shows on Sunday nights every other week with me and Thrash Pondo Pines, as well as her show on Thursday with the girl Snarky, and a special shout out to Snarky, the Nostalgic Pod Blast Chance, Retro Nerd Girl, and the Life and Sad Endings channel. Be sure to check out Blue Line Bigfoot, because Daily Damn Blog is a member of Blue Line Bigfoot, as well as Gypsy Road Eric. Hey, remember Gypsy Road Eric? He's also got a channel called the Hair Metal Revolution, and that channel is rocking. Be sure to check out all my friends. And now, back to the story. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for a nightmare. The end of the story. So mutant Prince Alarming puts the capture on King Joker and Queen Harley. And when I said it's the end of the story, you know, it's over and the mutant guy's still inside the other guy teacher, and they never did get him out, and Isis has discovered some kind of portal, and they're never going to answer these questions because, look, so as Isis must bid farewell to the mysterious mutant, so must we say goodbye to Isis as we sadly bring her comic book adventures to a close. You can still see her on the Adventures of Isis every Saturday morning on your local CBS TV. What the frig? They're going to leave it open. They're going to leave you wondering. That's the end of the story. It's the end of the comic book. Oh, my God. It's the end of the comic book series, and you could have read all this crap, which seems freaking pointless now. Yeah, let's write some letters to Isis. We can publish them every week. How about a goddamn Dear John letter where I can see you later, bye? And then you could have had Kamani meets the mutilated Daily Planet News. Oh, well, who gives a crap about the Daily Planet News? I'm ill now. What a horrible way to end the comic book with the guy still possessed by some mutant. You never got the answer to your questions, boy. You never got the end of the story. I could go on for hours. That's stuff you could have ordered. And then you could have had to the rescue snap together toys. That's cool, though. And they didn't even waste the back of this awesome comic book. You could have had all them cool things you could have drawn and made back in the day. I used to take them markers and make all kind of colored little things you bought for $1.99 at Sky City when I was a kid, right? Or you could have just built your own world with this stuff. Wah, wah. And that's my look at the last comic book in the Mighty Isis series, Isis number 8 from 1977. I hope you've enjoyed it. You know, I really love the Isis TV show. I think one of my favorite episodes was when she fought Bigfoot.
Something's out there. I don't know what. It really frightened us. A big hairy. Calm down. What do you think you really saw? I don't know. Maybe a bear.
No, it wasn't a bear. It was just too big. Oh, I wish I got a picture of it. Wait a second. Maybe it was Bigfoot.
Bigfoot? No, Bigfoot. It's supposed to be a large man-like creature that lives in the woods. People report seeing him everywhere. Of course, that's just a legend.
Well, it sure describes what we saw.
Bigfoot.
Let's get out of here.
Look, Cindy, I don't know what you saw or what you think you saw, but you are right about one thing. We do have to get out of here. So let's load up. Come on. What do you think? A bear?
Not in those woods. Too close to town.
Let's go.
I'll be right with you.
Lee, follow me back caravan style so nobody gets lost, okay?
My.